Hello, my glorious people on YouTube, and the one thing I wanted to kind of talk about today is the problem I have with people kind of misinterpreting stuff about Persona 4 Revival and Persona 4 in general, so let's get into it. So, the one part of this whole thing before I actually start giving you news and giving you all of that, first I'll start off with my opinion on all of it. You have the purists on one side that's like, oh, they have to keep all this in and they can't change anything because it won't be what the people back then want it to be or imagined it to be. But if you think about it, they were very limited in what they could do, so we don't exactly know if that was their original intention before what we got in Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. So that, in my opinion, is just so weird to me, that you have the purists that just want it like the old games. But then I will say to you, why am I playing Persona 4 Revival or Golden? Why not just play Persona 4 at that point? Yes, I do understand that Persona 4 Golden has more content and more content in the game for what you're getting, but that fact is just, it's so weird in my brain that people would even bring this up at that point, because I don't know how to explain it, especially not in a video, but trying to say it has to stick directly to Persona 4 is so weird to me, because why not just go play those games? Why is there a point in remaking it? The point of a remake is to shine new light where they could have gone wrong, or they could have got kind of not necessarily wrong, but they could have gotten more out of it if they would have done it another way, or they would have got more out of it if they didn't have the limitations of their time, which Persona 4 was really limited, and they had to cut a lot of content that maybe we will get in Revival. And the thing with Revival is, from what I've heard from people telling me, is it will not have as many load screens, so you can just freely walk the world. I don't know how true that is, but I feel like it's going to be Persona 3 level, where it's kind of letting you freely explore, but when you're moving from this place to this place, it will kind of get you a load screen. But that is what I think of the opinion of, oh, it needs to stick directly to it. No, because at that point it's why remake it? You have to have something for the new fans to enjoy, which could be just a graphical enhancement, but then you need something for the old players to be entertained with the game also. So yeah, I don't know, that's such a weird thing to me that people bring up, is just oh, it needs to stick directly. No, it needs to have its own thing, because then just why are you playing it at that point? So that was my first opinion on this. Let's get my second little gripe about it. So the other weird thing is the voice cast, which, to my kind of opinion about that, is Persona 3 Reload also had a different voice cast, and nobody really got mad per se about that. So I would say just give it a shot. If it doesn't hit you, then okay, I guess that's always a thing. They can fumble, but I would rather give them a chance to kind of perfect their craft and learn the character than outright say they're gonna be bad and they're gonna fail. Especially around Persona, I want it to kind of achieve the full maximum quality it can get. So if they replace the voice cast with a good, another good cast, then maybe we'll like this one better, maybe not. That's the kind of thing with dealing with something like this, is you have to give it its time to kind of shine and get built up, so we know who's voicing who, and we can pull it apart from there. From my knowledge, I don't think the OG Japanese cast is are not coming back. I think the OG Japanese cast are coming back for it, but it has not been confirmed or denied if they are. So I would just not get your hopes on that, but also not be worried about it, because I'm 50% sure that they will. I'm not gonna say I'm 100% sure, just in case this video ages poorly, but you know what I mean. You have to give the voice actor a little bit of, leeway with the character, especially because it is someone else's character that they are working on. But at the same time, they could possibly be the new iconic voice of this character. We've seen this many times in anime. I can't name one like off the top of my head because I don't really like follow voice actors like that. Like, I follow a couple, but not up to that point, and not up to that level. So it's kind of this weird thing where you have to give them, time to actually release who the voices are. You can't just hate right off the bat, or at least I can't. Yeah, no, that was my second weird gripe about this. So yeah, no, let's keep it moving. And I don't really know if I fully covered this, but I'm just gonna say I didn't. The name Persona 4 Revival is kind of warranted. In a way, if you look at it differently than, Persona 4 was dying. No, but it could breathe new life into Persona 4 from the people who played Persona 5 and Persona 3 Reload, and, they saw those graphics and they didn't want to hop to Persona 4 because it looked weird, or they didn't like the vibe of it. So it can breathe new life into the series that is basically a revival of the game. It's a revival of Persona 4. So while I understand the gripes with the naming, I also understand why they chose that naming, because it kind of does fit if you don't look at it like they're slandering or, like they're saying anything bad about Persona 4. They're not. They're just saying it could bring new people into the series. So it is a revival for that game in particular, and not the whole series or, Persona 4 as a whole. But it, I keep repeating myself, it could be a revival in a way. So yeah, no, I understand both sides. I understand why people don't like the name, and I understand why people do like the name. Yeah, no, that was my other point. So let's just keep it moving. Also, people weirdly saying that Persona 4 doesn't look that bad, and you're just, saying this to say it. But Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden, to the natural player, it does look weird, especially hopping off Persona 5 and those games that do look a lot better. So to a natural player who is getting into the series for the first time, they might not like the graphics or the graphical style or the art style of Persona 4. So those people who are like, but Persona 4 doesn't look that bad, that is because you are kind of desensitized to it. You don't really notice it. And I know I don't notice it when I'm playing, because when I'm playing, I don't really worry about the graphics. I worry about the story. But to some people, it can be a turnoff, and I understand why. It's not you hate, you're just hating to hate. No, I'm really not. I'm just saying the natural opinion of everyone that is saying, why do people think Persona 4 Revival can fail? I don't think it will fail, and I think it will probably pull better numbers than Persona 3. I'm not gonna lie with you, I think it will pull better numbers, because as we don't know all of this and all of the voice cast or anything like that, but with the success of Persona 3 and the success of Persona 5, it will just carry it to another level that we already know that these games are good and stuff like that. So the name will probably just carry it alone, and the praise of the original games will also carry it further. I don't know about this. You guys can kind of correct me in the comments if I am wrong, because I do like hearing what you guys think about this subject. But this is just my opinion. This isn't fact like I think the other things are, and I don't believe it as much, but I still kind of think about it in the back of my head. So Yeah, and for some weird reason, people are acting like Atlas is just some bad company because of the fact that Persona 3 wasn't as well as they could make it, but it really was for the time it was released because it was affected by COVID. And it was heavily affected by COVID, and nobody really takes that into account and says, oh, why didn't they add this or this or this? It's because COVID. And the thing is, Atlas is on a winning streak right now because of Metaphor and Persona 3 Reload actually kind of just getting boosted, and I see Persona 3 Reload everywhere, on commercials, on like people just watching television, and it'll pop on. And Atlas is just, they're on a continuous oh my god, I can't speak, continuous train of success right now, and I don't think that'll stop anytime soon, especially with all the other games that they have planned. And they're constantly making sure the fans are good and the fans are listened to, and they feel not like they're neglecting them. Because if you look at a lot of other studios, they neglect their fans, while Atlas and Sega are probably one of the only ones that have constantly listened to fans and upgraded their studios. Especially Sonic Team, I've heard, is putting in a lot of work, doing really good work over there. But, oh damn, that was a bad voice crack. But I have not played Sonic in the longest time, so I don't really know if that's true. But from what I've heard with Sonic Team Racing or Sonic Racing or whatever, it is going very well for Sonic fans right now. And because Atlas is part of Sega, they are not, I don't think they're Sega, but they're owned by Sega, and they're one of the many companies. I do think that Atlas will continuously be on a winning streak for the rest of the time being until, that one game. I don't know. But I don't think they'll not do really good on this game because of the fact that they are continuously listening to fans, all fans, no matter who or what your opinion is. They are trying to listen to you as much as they can, and I'm not saying they are perfect. They have mistakes. Persona 3 Reload, they didn't add the second character like people wanted, but like I said, that was affected by COVID massively, so they couldn't add that. But people are saying that this goes to that and that goes to this, and they could have, because they added the DLC. But that's a whole nother video for another time, and if you want me to cover my thoughts on Persona 3 Reload as it currently is, then drop a like, subscribe, and do all that good stuff, and I will cover that in another video. But for as it stands, Atlas has the trust of all of its fans because they constantly listen, they constantly improve. And that is one thing I will give Atlas and Sega, is they kind of listen to their fans. And sometimes their fans are not the nicest people to them, and they do some stuff I don't agree with constantly. But I feel like some of the people who are mad really shouldn't be, because we don't really know much on this game. We got one trailer on it. So I hope this kind of settles some problems on Persona 4 Revival. Because if it wasn't for COVID, Persona 3 would have been tons better, and it's already a really good game as it stands. So, those are my thoughts and opinions on this. If you guys have something different, or you guys have a different twist than me, that is perfectly fine. I'm not saying, oh, your opinion is valid. No. The fact of my video is these people have not let me down, and they are up there with Rockstar in listening to fans, but not listening too much to the point where their vision of the game kind of goes down the drain. And those two companies have that thing where they can listen enough to the fans to make the fans happy, but they don't over listen to the fans. And that's where I think a lot of gaming studios kind of get into the point where they are consistently listening to the fans, but there are so many voices and so many opinions and so many things that they have to go through that the original vision of the game kind of goes down the drain. And I don't want that to happen to Persona 4 Reload or Persona 4 Revival. But I know it's not gonna happen because this company, at least not all companies, but this company and Rockstar have the one thing that a lot of other companies wish they had, where they listen to just the right amount of people. You know, they listen to the OGs, but the OGs that have so many hours, and they have the basically same opinion where, like, they should have added this character. Okay, everyone says they should add this character. It's basically a majority vote, and it is not, they're trying to listen to everyone. And that is a good thing, and I feel like this game could be amazing and will be amazing because I place my full trust in their hands. And the funny thing is, if you want to know how weird some Persona fans are, they think that Persona 4, the original Persona 4, is better than Persona 4 Golden. And Persona 4 Golden is basically the same game, basically slightly same, like, it's slightly same graphics. You know, there's not much of a difference between those two games. And they say that the original was better, even though Persona 4 Golden adds legitimately, wow, that's a word, legitimately, like, way more content, plus all of the original content that was in the main game. So, yeah, that's just a little look into the mind of a Persona fan. And like Dragon Ball fans, Persona fans, we do not play our games. We do everything. We watch YouTube videos on people playing our games. That's the fucking big joke that I hear, is we do not play our games. We're just, you know, we're just watching people play our games. And that is kind of true for some people, especially if you go to like Twitter or Instagram or stuff like that, where you have takes that are just so bad. They're so bad. Like, you could not get this from playing even 2 seconds of a game. But my long tangent is over. Let me know what you guys think. I really love the feedback on my other videos about, you know, Zora versus Yuki and a lot of other videos I have out. I love hearing what you guys think and your opinions, and I love the back and forth. You know, one of my videos has like 15 comments, and that's just me and another guy talking back and forth. And I love moments like that where I get to kind of interact with you guys a little bit and do that stuff. Discord's popping off right now, and yeah, no. Thank you to people in Discord, and thank you to people on my YouTube, and I hope you subscribe. I hope you like my video. I hope you watch this while you eat. People are saying there are not enough YouTube videos where you can just sit down, watch, and eat. But here, while you're enjoying your meal, pop this on. See ya.